Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well. How's everyone doing? How have you been the last few days? What are you buying? What are you investing in? What are you hoping to invest in the future? I personally am hoping to get more real estate really soon. I would love some more property. That's just a personal thing. It's what I like investing in the most. And that you're all having a great day. Don't forget to leave a like. Don't forget to leave a like on the video. It's a free and very nice and generous and easy way to support the channel. Don't forget to follow me on social media as well. There are links below the video. Yeah, a lot has been happening as usual. I mean, it's not anything brand new with this market. There's always a lot of hubbubaloo. Is that a thing? Hubbubaloo? I don't know. Within this space, one of the things this year, and it's not just one, there have been multiple, but one has been standing out, sticking out, looking at us aggressively like a sore thumb, and it's stablecoins. If you managed to miss those videos, you are a matrix, because for some reason, and I know the reason, companies, governments, and everyone else seemingly believes that stable coins are going to be like the best thing that's ever happened to finance. In actuality, it just has to do with a number of everyone de-dollarizing, as well as moving away explicitly from fiat. This is one of the major trends in finance as we see inflation ravaging the world, and as such, stablecoins, for whatever reason, are seen as a way to prop up fiat currencies in the background and also in the foreground, with treasuries and bonds and the like. So we heard at the beginning of this year that stablecoins were going to be a big thing and that they were going to begin to be launched over the course of 2025 and 2026. The interesting part, as it were, has to do with apparently, we heard for some time, if you notice the attention that Ethereum has been getting, that is largely in part to the news that we received that since a lot of these bills and legislations got passed, a lot of the banks within the United States were looking to make their own stable coins. And do you know where they were rumored to make said stable coins? Yes, on top of Ethereum. That kind of led all the institutions to be like, well, if they're going to build it on there, we need to buy as much Ether as possible to, make money from the ecosystem. So this appears to be the 2.0, the 2.5. I'm not really sure exactly what's happening. The European Union is reportedly exploring a major public blockchain network, including Ethereum and Solana, in connection with its digital euro design. We heard before that there might be a digital euro, but we've also heard the same thing about a digital yen, a digital won, a digital The rumors are now that they're kind of whittling down what they want to do or where they would do it. I would find it nearly confusing if the European Union did, or I mean any large anything, did actually choose to explicitly put their coins and the creation of said coins and therefore their monetary policy on top of a public blockchain, simply because governments are very shady. They're very silent. They keep things to themselves. They typically don't want the public to know what's going on. If we, the public, have access to transactional data on Bitcoin, Ethereum, what have you, and we see, let's say, for instance, the European Union creates 348 billion digital euros on Ethereum. It's great for the Ethereum ecosystem. But we as the public would also then be able to see in complete transparent terms where that money went. Governments always do things that they don't want the public to see. So you see where the issue ends up coming through. What's with this idea of the government being like, okay, cool, you know what, actually, let's be as transparent as possible. It doesn't really seem that realistic. I would assume if we saw like a fork of JP Morgan, interestingly, years ago, made a forked version of the Ethereum blockchain to make their own, what we now call stablecoin. And it just didn't really work out. So there are apparently stories about governments and major banks creating stablecoins, but them choosing public ledgers that everyone can kind of see. Apparently, the European Central Bank, the ECB, is considering running a digital euro on a public blockchain like Ether rather than a private one. This was reported by the Financial Times, citing people familiar with the matter. Unlike a private blockchain, where data is limited to authorized entities, public blockchains like Ethereum are open to everyone. And I won't say Solana because Solana is a database, but that's okay. If confirmed, the EU's exploration of public blockchains would represent a significant milestone in the digital euro's development, given that the ECB has not yet finalized the technology framework for the project. The use of public blockchain is definitely something the EU officials are taking more seriously now, one of the people involved in the digital euro discussions told the Financial Times. I would actually, really, this isn't, I'm not joking, I'm not trying to be like, okay, no, this is, if we start, okay, we live in a world where transparency isn't a thing from governments. If we start living in a world where governments are like more open and honest and they can't lie to us, what happens? Like what's, so yes, this of course was very popular news for one reason or another, basically the two chains. I would probably assume, more than likely, many countries are probably going to, if they do choose public chains, they're probably going to choose multiple. It's the same exact thing with Tether. Tether is across like 8 or 9 different chains. If you put everything on one chain and that chain falters, collapses, has a security issue, well, gosh darn it, your money is fudged. So, yes, heaven help us if the European Central Bank chooses Ethereum, because these companies are already ravenously gobbling up as much ether as they can. I think there would be like a negative balance on crypto exchanges because, you know, there's a lot of madness already going on. But yeah, everyone is seemingly no longer afraid of central bank digital currencies, which is what this will be. It'll be from a central bank and it'll be a digital currency. But once again, the term stablecoin, everyone is, you know, completely fine with. So in the next 15 years, when there's a market crash and people see that their governments have frozen their accounts and are draining money from their digital bank accounts because they need it, just remember these moments, because everyone, I don't know why everyone's so happy about stablecoins now. That's the stablecoin news. And yeah, let's move on. Also, you know what? Why not? You know, knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. Like at this point, just do whatever the fudge you want. Grayscale, famous for not only being gray but also having scales, announced recently, or rather, they've kind of been on a roll. Grayscale is kind of like the proprietor of the ETF space in that the logic still remains. If they file for it, they're probably going to get it. We had news recently of I think another Solana ETF and a Cardano ETF, the Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF from Grayscale, and there was one other coin. I don't remember. It was I think it was HBAR. Well, guess what? As we mosey on through September and October, not how you say it, by the way, the expectations are still through the roof that we're going to get multiple ETFs, and if those end up going through, basically everything is going to go through. So Grayscale has filed an S1 registration statement with the Securities and Exchange Commission. They're trying to get a spot Dogecoin ETF. Yes, that's why I said do whatever you want. The company intends to name the fund the Grayscale Dogecoin Trust ETF, a little on the nose, noting it will allow investors to gain exposure to Dogecoin without directly owning the token. If approval is granted, the fund will trade on the New York Stock Exchange ARCA under the symbol GDOG. Not joking. It sounds like a 90s rapper, but it is GDOG. According to the company's filings, Dogecoin will serve as the trust's sole asset under the custody of Coinbase Custody Trust Company. I don't know who Coinbase shook hands with, but them being the custody solution for everyone, little red flaggy. Shares will also be issued and redeemed in blocks of 10,000. Yeah, referred to as baskets, with settlement initially taking place in cash rather than through Dogecoin transfers. I assume they need further approval through the actual registration to be able to do the in-kind. That is to say, the other ETFs, if you have been missing it, have been trying to get staking on their paperwork. I believe that went through months ago, like a month ago, and no one cared. Not even joking. I thought that was going to be like, whoa, nope, a lot of people didn't care. And then secondly, the idea is, and this is the world we live in now, is to not even have to use the US dollar. So basically, these companies and their funds would kind of be able to revolve entirely around crypto. So let's say you had paper money or you had crypto, you'd be able to literally put that money, those coins, the digital asset, into the actual ETF. And as it grew and grew and grew, and you potentially made more money and you wanted to cash out, you would cash out in crypto, not in dollars or euros or yen. That's one of the things that I keep saying over and over. Does this news mean anything to you? Do you understand that de-dollarization is happening even within the place where the dollar is from? Are you getting that inflation's going to run rampant and wild, and only people with assets are going to come out slightly unscathed? Are you understanding that the mantra of the crypto space from years ago is kind of explicitly coming true? Crypto's taking over everything. Countries are talking about integrating crypto into their literal systems. We're having rumors and talks and discussions of banks across the US, the European Central Bank, putting their currencies digitally on the chains we've been talking about for years. At some point, you will, technically now you will be able to completely in the future exist in an ecosystem where you never touch fiat. When I say, does this mean something to you? Are you understanding everything that's happening over the last couple of months? How weird this transformation has been from companies, governments, institutions, family offices talking negatively about crypto And then out of nowhere, it's like the best thing that people have ever heard of. Governments or multiple banks are talking about building their coins on top of Ethereum that's been around since 2015. Like, what are you talking about? So, yes, the world is rapidly changing, but also, yeah, things are looking a bit intense, like just in general within this space. I mean, it's lovely to see that the market that I chose to get into is, doing exceptionally well. But it's also one of those things where you're like, okay, why is this all happening so fast? I told you before, and I'll say it again. I think something happened. Like, I think something behind the scenes, like with the people who run the world. I think somebody was like, all right, cool. Well, we're done with the old system. And that's kind of like trickled down to all these companies to be like, yeah, sure. Let's not use the US dollar anymore. Let's make sure that we put $147 million on a Tuesday into Bitcoin. Ethereum, cool. Here's $3 billion. It's like, okay. So yeah, Grayscale has thus far had a pretty good track record when it comes to ETFs. So they are probably going to get this one as well. The future of a lot of coins in this space, I feel like, is being solidified. As I mentioned years ago, it's just logic. At some point, we would see kind of like, which coins kind of take over or are the most popular or have the most money flowing into them. By the time we get to the end of October, it should be blatantly, abundantly clear which coins got their ETFs, how much money is going to start flowing into this space. We're not too far off. That's the really weird part. I have a friend. We were chatting about it 2 days ago. Hello, friend, if you're listening. And he was like, "It's go time. Like this is what we've all been waiting for." And now we're finally here. Very interesting time to be in this market. Very, 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 very interesting time. Yeah. I think that's going to do it for this video, everyone. I hope you've all been doing well. Hope everyone out there is having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening. Wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be, I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Don't forget how early you are in this market. It's all laying out before you. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.